Hello and welcome to CBA News Brief with me, Abdillahi Hassan. Somaliland opposition party Wadani accused the government of President Bihi of land grab and self-enrichment. The spokesman of Wadani party Batoon today dubbed the government of President Bihi the government of real estate in an allusion to allegations of land grab. Batoon, in the fierce verbal attack, said the president is failing on performing his duties because he is too busy with wealth accumulation. The scathing criticism from the opposition party follows a widely discussed land dispute between members of the president's family and some residents of the capital. On the other hand, the opposition spokesman criticized the president for nominating controversial figure for the Electoral Commission. Batoon said the Electoral Commission is impartial body akin to the Supreme Court and should be above the parties and free. Mr. Batoon added that President Bihi nominated two controversial persons for the NEC to frustrate the electoral process. He said this is a proof that the government does not want to hold elections. The opposition party rejected two nominees of President Bihi to the Electoral Commission, one on being Kulmiya party member and another on the basis of being a member in the current Electoral Commission. Unknown armed assailants ambushed a government vehicle last Tuesday, which was traveling between Dila and Borama towns in the western outer region of Somaliland. Reports said that unidentified gunmen opened fire on a car before they have escaped the scene. The incident in the outer region prompted Chief of Operations of the National Army Brigadier General Abdillahi to travel to Borama. The Chief of Operations held meetings with the Outer Security Committee and traditional elders from the province. He said that his mission was to conduct army inspections and to assess the real situation on the ground. He revealed that a horrible incident transpired in the province whereby assailants fired multiple shots on a government car. Mr. Abdillahi told that the security situation will get out of control unless strong actions are taken to ensure stability. He hoped that the discussions he held with the security personnel and the elders from the region will avert such incidents to occur again. There were recent unconfirmed reports that claimed an army rebel group were formed in the province which took arms against the current government. A high-level delegation of the United Nations and the African Union visited Mogadishu and met with Somali government officials, civil society, and peacekeeping organizations in Mogadishu. The delegation applauded Somalia's enormous effort to peace and stability and Somali women's participation in peace and security efforts that helped advance society towards an inclusive and peaceful future. The delegation consisted of the United Nations Deputy Secretary General Amina Mohammed, the Special Envoy of the United Nations Secretary General for the Horn of Africa, Parfait Onanga Anyanga, and the AU Special Envoy on Women, Peace and Security, Binieta Diop. The delegation's trip to the region was focused on women, peace and security. In Somalia, they emphasized the international commitment to the pursuit of peace, stability and credible elections in the country. The importance of women's meaningful participation in elections, efforts to counter extremism and the economic development of Somalia were underscored by the delegation. The full delegation met with Somalia's Prime Minister Hassan Ali Khaireh, the chairperson of the National Independent Electoral Commission Halima Ismail Ibrahim, and a group of women leaders in civil society who discussed the upcoming one-person, one-vote election and countering violent extremism, among other things. The United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees has said that at least 120 refugees are expected to be evacuated to Rwanda in November from Libya, where they are currently exposed to violence, sexual abuse and torture in detention centers. Rwanda is currently hosting 189 African refugees and asylum seekers. Most of them are from Somalia, Eritrea and Sudan, and the rest are from Ethiopia. The group was evacuated from Libya, where thousands of others are still languishing in pitiful circumstances at detention centers, after a failed bid to cross to the Mediterranean Sea to the European countries, where they hoped to secure a better life. Those who are evacuated to Rwanda are hosted at Gashora Transit Center in Bugesera district, Eastern Province. The first group of 66 refugees arrived in Rwanda in September, while the second group of 123 arrived in the country in early October as part of a commitment of Rwanda made to contribute to saving the struggling migrants in the North African country. Around 3,000 migrants are still thought to be in detention centers in Libya, where authorities are trying to close the route across the Mediterranean Sea that has seen thousands of people perish trying to reach Europe. Russia has written off more than $20 billion in debt accumulated by African countries during the Soviet era. The announcement was made by Russian President Vladimir Putin on Wednesday. In a statement, he said it was not only an act of generosity, but also a manifestation of pragmatism, because many of the African states were not able to pay interest on those loans. This comes at a time when Somalia is working towards securing debt relief. While addressing the Russia-African Forum in Sochi, Putin called for trade between Russia and African countries to be doubled in the next 4 to 5 years. Putin also said that Russia intends to increase its presence in Africa at the state level. Hundreds of supporters of prominent Ethiopian activist Jawar Mohammed set up a camp around his house in Addis Ababa on Thursday, a day after police fired gunshots and tear gas to break up demonstrations against his treatment by the government. Hundreds of Oromo ethnic young men gathered at the house of activist Jawar Mohammed in Addis Ababa. This comes a day after police fired guns and tear gas to break up protests against his treatment by the government. At least 5 people were killed in Wednesday's clashes in the capital and other cities. The demonstrations began on Tuesday after police surrounded Jawar's house. Protests quickly spread to other parts of the capital and to the cities of Adama, Ambo, Harar, and Jimma, residents said. Following the outbreak of violence on Wednesday, Jawar supporters erected tents outside his house on Thursday and brought mattresses, signaling they intended to stay there. Jawar, a media entrepreneur and political activist, organized the protests that partially brought Abiy Ahmed to power last year. Both Abiy Ahmed and Jawar are from the Oromo ethnic group, Ethiopia's largest, as are most of the protesters. Commentators suspect that this flare-up is an indication of a showdown between the two preeminent Oromo men in the country right now. Thank you for joining us. That was our news brief. Stay tuned for full news bulletin with Wangui Gugi.